Welcome to Barbells Business and Boobs, where we discuss navigating everyday life as lifters, business owners, and being a woman in a male-dominated industry. I'm your host, Brittany Diamond.
And I'm Christy Sine, and unclasp your bras because we're about to get loose.
Love it. Our new intro, Christy is so creative. She just came up with that. So yeah, so get loose with us. If you're a man listening, obviously you probably don't wear a bra, but it's okay. So all
It's
good. I'm
okay, get
super
loose.
excited.
Yeah, let us know if you guys like our new intro or if you have ideas for a different one.
Yeah, so this is officially our season 3 start, and we've been filming for a little over a year, and I feel like I'm really proud and excited for the next few episodes we have. We have a lot of good interviews lined up, but most importantly, Brittany, who struggles with technology, finally has a good setup. Shout out to my boyfriend Anthony because he's the tech guru. So super excited. So thank you all if you've been a listener from the beginning. I love you and thank you for evolving with us. So speaking of evolvement, what are we talking about today, Christy?
Oh, well, what are we talking about today? Well, what we're talking today is your new business venture. And it's really interesting because we've talked about this on a quickie episode before, basically, and on another episode, basically about how we feel about OnlyFans, because we get asked daily if we have an OnlyFans. And you started up something that is not OnlyFans, but in like the same kind of industry, right? Can you explain what it
Yeah,
is?
absolutely. And I also will link in the show notes our old episode on why we don't have an OnlyFans. And I was kind of always like on the fence about it. Like I wanted to, but I was scared. So I'll talk about that too. But basically, HoneyDrip is similar to an OnlyFans, only it doesn't have the stigma around it. And I actually haven't been on the OnlyFans platform, but I really like how HoneyDrip is set up. And I love, I talked to the CEO and he made me feel like I could do whatever I wanted. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. Like I actually feel like it's making me love social media again. And I haven't been, not that I'm shy, but I have time to do more creative outlets. And I just kind of feel like I'm back to my old self when I used to love social media. So it has been one of the best things I've done, not only for my creativity, but for finances. And yeah, so we'll get into all that.
Yeah, like I feel like ever since you started HoneyDrip, at first you're like nervous. I remember it was honestly not that long after episode, we're both like, no, we wouldn't do like a subscription kind of thing with photos. And then you were like, I think I'm gonna do it. And like it was a couple weeks later. But before we get into like how you got into it, because I know you have some friends that do HoneyDrip as well. I just want to tell you, like I've noticed a big change in you too, where I feel like you just feel more free. Like it's almost like coming out, like of like, hey, I like to express myself this way, and like being sexy and creative, and like instead of like feeling like maybe like you're hiding that part of yourself, you're like, no, I have a honey drip, and here are the photos. Like you were able to kind of like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost seemed like you're like, I mean, you just owned it and now you can just be yourself. Is that kind of how it's like?
Yeah, I feel so confident because so many times the limiting factor is I was worried, what would people think? And I was worried it would hurt my business. And I've always been a believer in, what type of energy you put out, it comes back to you. And Christy, like my clients, I've been attracting like girls that are just like me. So it's been really cool to get clients that are like, I want to do a photo shoot like that too. And it's just made me fall in love with coaching again. It's given me more motivation. And yeah, I absolutely love it. And I feel being in my 30s, I'm so secure with myself now that I'm sure people talk shit and I could care less.
It's like the authenticity. Like that's how you know, like you're being authentic and you're like attracting the same, like really good energy. So that's why as a friend, I'm like, I freaking support it. You seem like super happy. Like it's like you stay true to you, which we'll talk about that too with like type of content you're posting. Um, and you just seem happy and like, I don't know, more like you're revived, you know? So tell us a little bit about how you found HoneyDrip and how you started it.
So I go to the range, which is a gun range here in Vegas that's pretty well known. Nick Best works at it. That's how I first was introduced to it. So hopefully you know who Nick Best is if you're a fan of our podcast, one of the greatest strongmen of all time. So there is a woman owner there named Chris Chansky, and she invited me to just do some content, some cool shooting content, and we just kind of clicked. And I followed her on social media. She has several different accounts. She owns the range, but she is just a hustler. She owns a couple different social media businesses. First, she helped me with taxes. She sent me a person that specifically works with creators so that they can do all of the appropriate expenses. So then, as we became closer, she said to me once, she's like, hey, you know, you and I posted this together and everyone was asking if you have a fan page. I was like, I don't. I was like, I have a subscription on Instagram, which is mostly training videos, but that's it. And then I started talking to her more about it. And I remember the exact moment I'm a passenger princess, lucky me. So my boyfriend and I, we were driving back from the gym and we were at a stoplight and I was talking to Chris about it. And she actually shared numbers with me about how much she made and that she was buying another house. And she told me what she did on there. And I was amazed because I looked at my boyfriend and it was kind of like a light bulb went off. I was like, I feel like I could kind of do this because people are always asking me, like, half my DMs are coaching inquiries and half of them are like, how big are your biceps? Stuff like that, that I've always just laughed at. And I'm like, I could honestly capitalize on this and not interfere with my moral compass at all. So I treated it like a business and I kind of came up with a plan for when I wanted to launch it. And the funnest part of it has been Anthony loves to take pictures and he's really good at it. And it's something like we do it together. Like he'll take these pictures of me and we'll come up with creative ideas and it's so fun. And yeah, so that's how I got into it.
Yeah. And I love that too, because it's just, I don't know, I feel like the word of the year for you is like security, like feeling secure in yourself, feeling secure in your relationship. And now you're able to like, you know, really flourish. And it's just, I was laughing because you're like, I'm a passenger princess now. I feel like last year you would never be a passenger princess. Like I drive myself, I put away all my weights, I do all my stuff. And I like it because it just seems like you're allowing yourself to do things you want and like to be like secure and happy. So I'm just happy for you, you know, like, and I think like a healthy relationship will do that for sure.
Yeah,
So
thank you. That's been a
because
big part of it. We
yeah,
talk a lot about it on other episodes, like on our prep episode, but you know, I'm 32 years old and I never really have been in a relationship that's been good for me. So to have that and have waited that long for it, you know, we really elevate each other and it's just been the biggest like
mhm,
blessing that I feel so
yeah,
lucky and every single day I'm grateful for it. Like I tell Anthony
yeah.
every night, I was like,
Oh,
I feel so loved. I hope you feel loved. Like, and I just always want to make sure that I'm being a better person, honestly, for him. So,
yeah. Well, I definitely want to get like, I definitely want to talk about like maybe like relationships and jealousy and stuff like that soon. But first, let's stay at, I'm still curious about like this beginning decision with this because we, you know, we both said, you know, I mean, definitely on the fence, but both said like no OnlyFans for certain reasons. You know, I remember talking about like not really wanting to engage with people, afraid of like the business and stuff like that. But I think, you know, I, like, do you think that you were able to do honey drip because it just didn't have the stigma, so you felt more free to like not like go all the way, or you know, because like do you view OnlyFans the same as honey drip, or do you feel like they're different, or you just feel like you're able to approach honey drip differently just because you don't associate it like OnlyFans is just such a, you know, association with it. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
that's such a good question. And at first, I was like, okay, Honey Drip doesn't have the stigma, but there really isn't a big difference. And I feel like
Hmm.
any of those creator platforms, because there's several of them, I would just say OnlyFans is the most well known one. It is up to the creator to do what they want to do. With that being said, I can see how people that do this become like there's always that point where you want to do a little more to make more money. I was very, very strict with myself. Like, I journal, I'm very self aware. There was a line that I didn't want to cross. And some people don't like that. Like, for example, I put it on my close friends yesterday when I put up a question box about my honey drip. I had a couple people that were like, "Ma'am, this is your page is a disappointment." And I personally love my page. Like, I think it's really cool to see myself. I'll do old photo shoots, then new ones. But to reel it back to the question, now I would probably do either. I just don't want to have multiple platforms to manage. But I really think that it's up to the creator for what type of content they want to put out there. And I do fun
Yeah.
stuff. Like, when I first did it, after I talked to the CEO, he was like, "Your fans," and it feels so weird to say like you have fans because I'm like, who am I? Like, but let's be honest, it's just the world we live in. And I think the coolest part for me has been that a lot of my fans, quote unquote, have been people that have been following me and love strongman. So it's been really cool. Like, when I chat with them, I send everyone a message like, "Thank you so much. How did you follow me?" And a lot of people have been like, "I've been following you since, 2015 when you were competing. I always thought you were an inspiration," all that. So it's really, really cool to have people that have followed the sport. And I do fun stuff. Like, yes, I am showing off my body, absolutely. But it's been really fun for me just to be like in my posing suit and I'll be like cooking breakfast and I'll just like hop on, do a 30-second video. I think it's just about people wanting to get closer to you and feel like they know you in a different way. So I like it. It's been cool. Like anything, I have strong, strong boundaries with it, which I can talk about more because in the beginning I was a little overwhelmed. But now I feel like I developed a really good system with how I manage it and it doesn't take up too much time. And yeah,
Yeah. And I think that's why, like, when we were saying like no to OnlyFans before, and like, I want to make this clear, like, I think, I think most people understood what we're saying, but there might have been a couple people that were a little bit offended because they did OnlyFans and thought maybe we're being judgmental, but it's just the unknown. And we have curiosity, and we were just kind of playing both sides of like, why would you do it? Why wouldn't you do it? And now that Brittany's doing it, she's figuring out for herself and like creating those boundaries and doing it the way that she wants to. Like, like that's just, it's okay to change your mind, and like it's cool that you took that risk to try it out, and guess what, you like it, so that's really good.
yeah.
What has surprised you? Because before, like, we had so many questions, and it was like, I don't think I'd want to do this 'cause I wouldn't want my client to see that, or I wouldn't want to do this because of I'm scared about a stalker or something. Has there been anything that you've like, any of those things, that ideas that we thought before, that have been you've kind of like debunked or come across like at all? Like, have you, what's been the most surprising?
What's been the biggest surprise for me is who supports you and who doesn't. Okay. So I had a couple friends that I thought were my friends that texted me, like, "I'm worried about you." And I'm like, this is my decision, And then when I was just recently home for my little brother's wedding, and we were sitting, this was a really exciting moment for me because, I wasn't sure what my family would think. I remember my stepdad, who owns a really big auto body shop in Boston years ago. He had no idea what OnlyFans was. He's like, "Hey, Britt, one of my customers says you should do OnlyFans and you'd kill it." And I'm like, I
I
remember
remember
being at the
that.
table, be like, "Dad, do you know what that is?" So, anyways, it was Halloween day, and I was sitting down. My dad, my mom, my little brother, and his soon to be wife came over. It was the day after their rehearsal dinner. We're just sitting around talking, and Anthony was there too. We're just talking about it. And I was like, can you guys come help me brainstorm some ideas for my honey drip for Halloween? And Sarah, my now sister, was like, yes. She's like, do you ever do feet pictures? And I was like, no, actually, none of my fans, like, people seem to really be obsessed with my biceps. I don't really have any feet picture, but I know that's a thing. Let me try it, which it actually didn't do that well. I guess you guys don't really care about my feet, but it was fun to brainstorm with my family. She came up with trick or treat, no free feet. And we just took a picture of my feet next to skulls, and I'm like cracking up. And my dad was like, I can't believe you guys are capitalizing on this. And I literally sat down. My mom was like, do I want to see what's on there? Like, and I was like, why don't we pull it up? So we pulled it up, and my mom was like, are you kidding me? She was like shocked. She was like, wow, I wish this was around for me when I was your age. I was like, yeah. I was like, it's pretty awesome, huh? Because this is stuff that I would put on Instagram for the most part. Like some of it is like I have an implied nudity shoot I had done in a shower a year ago. But it's just like I'm selling all like I'll put little teasers out there like, oh, here's one picture from this album, buy the full, or I'll put like a video of me when I won the bikini bull riding. Like stuff that is just me that I'm actually like, it's just fun. So my mom and my family was like, wow, good for you, Britt. Like, this is awesome. And I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to capitalize on this forever. And then Sarah, my sister, was like, do you think I could do this? And then Anthony chirped in and he's like, yeah, people would love you because everyone has a different look. People that come to me obviously like big, muscular women, probably blonde too. They're not looking for like a little girl next door type of thing. But yeah, I think the most fun part has been, we all know I like lifting rocks, right?
Yes, we all know that for
So,
sure.
so the fact that that seems to be what does the best is like feats of strength. Like it's called lift in the fetish world. It's called lift carry. People love seeing me lift weird objects, or I'll even lift like Anthony.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, people always, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I always get comments of like, can you lift me? I'm 70 kg or something like that. It's definitely, I mean, that's the thing too. It's like, muscular bodies and like strong women are very like highly fetishized, and it's like there's definitely a market for it. And like you've always had like very loyal fans. Like the type of fan art you've gotten has always just been like insane and very much like, you taking care of the man and picking them up and stuff like that. Um so just like definitely really interesting. Speaking of Anthony, like I know he's great. He's great. And like super secure. You guys have such a great relationship, but like I'm sure you've gotten a lot of these questions too. It's I know you have your own boundaries, but how do you I don't know, how does that work with is there any jealousy issues, or is there discussions that are had between like maybe Anthony's boundaries with it?
Yeah, we've had a bunch of discussions about it. And especially like at first, when I first started doing it, the first 2 weeks, I was anxious about it because I was on there, kind of like when anything is new, you're going to treat it like a baby. I was on there more than I wanted to be. And, we just came up with like kind of like our own little rules. Like if I send a selfie, like I'm going to send him one too, because he is still my number one priority. But he's just very secure, and I feel it's important to mention he had dated someone before that was a very successful creator, and he told me kind of like his opinion on, just to make sure. He said he didn't think I'd have a problem because I was so self-aware, but just that we always kept the lines of communication open. It's kind of one of those things too where my phone is always open in a relationship. Like if you want, like I do work in front of him, but if he ever, I can't even see him ever being like this, but if he ever had the least bit of insecurity, I would show him. And it's actually really funny because I was reading him some of the fan chat I was doing the other day, and literally like it's one of my favorite fans. He's from Italy, and I was telling him like, oh, we might get our dual citizenship. Like, do you like it when I lift Anthony and all that? So like I actually like and talk about Anthony a lot to my fans. Again, I keep putting in quotations, that sounds so weird, but I'm very open. Like, people know I'm in a relationship. Like, I'm literally who I am on there. So it's been if anything, it's been really positive for our relationship, because when he does the photo shoots, it's like a way for us to work together.
Yeah, it's really like it's like a fun collaborative process, like um and I can just see Anthony get really into like the composition and like the theme and like you like to do the shoot, so it like works out really well, like you seem really like happy about the process and stuff like that. It's probably so hard for people to imagine like this in a relationship, but like knowing you guys, like it works. And we know other people who are in relationships and the husband or the boyfriend is helping out their significant other, um, and it's very successful. So I know you do treat it like a business as well. So it's like um, you're on there, you care about that, you care about your fans, but like you also treat it like a business. Are you able to turn it off like you do with any work, and like are you able to like log off and just like stay away, how we like are workaholics?
Yeah, yeah, that's been really easy for me, because it's I'll just be really blunt. It's almost like these fans sometimes respect me more than like other people. They'll be like, "Goddess or honey, I know you need time to work out and answer your clients and all of that. No worries about me," because sometimes I won't answer for 48 hours, because I don't go on every day. In the beginning, I was, and I felt really overwhelmed. But now I just go on at certain times, and I'll post. I feel Instagram has been a good, I have a Facebook page too, which is really successful, almost better than my Instagram. I think I generate a lot of my audience from there. So I'll put up, like, if it's like a Saturday night, and obviously I'm not going out or doing much right now because of prep. But if like Anthony is doing something and we're not going to watch a movie, I'll just go on. I'll dedicate 2 hours and I'll say I'm going on, like, chat with me, ask me anything. And it's really easy. And I've had good boundaries with it. Like, I haven't checked it at all today. I think the last I checked it, I had it on my schedule to check it Tuesday at 7 p.m. So I'm on again tomorrow morning. But Wednesdays are more my creative day with other things, so I'm not going to go on today.
Yeah. No, it seemed like I remember when you first did it, you told me how much money you made like the first month and stuff like that. Has it continued to be as lucrative as you want it to be?
It has. So at first I noticed, which is kind of funny, I had like 1,000 subscribers, and then a lot of them canceled. And I feel it was probably just people just wanting to be nosy, seeing what was on there and then canceling. But then I've had people that continue, they pay the fee every month, and then they'll tip me for like a selfie, or they'll buy all my albums. Or recently, I posted that I had a new practice suit, and someone was like, "I really love, you don't do this pose." It was like the back. I do a back double by, but I usually don't post my not back relax, back lat spread. And he was like, "Will you send me a back lat spread video?" And he tipped me, and I did it. And then it started like other people wanting to help me pay for nationals, because they're like, if you keep posting your progress pictures, and videos, we'll keep tipping. And it's sometimes I'm like scratching my head, because I'm like, don't all these progress pictures look the same?
I think like some people just like there's definitely a type of person that are just like super supportive and just want to support you. Like I mean that's where like there's sugar daddies and sugar babies. Like why do those exist? Not saying that's what they are. I feel like it's I know what type of like I get kind of like DMs like that where you're like when someone's just like very like goddess, calling you a goddess and like wanting to support you and like really wishing you, you know, positivity and success. Like
Yeah.
I can get that. And like you if you have a big following, there has to be like some percentage of that that will, support you. So I think it's great that you've monetized that. Like it doesn't seem like any of the fears that we both listed of like, come true, like with the, you know, the boundaries affecting relationship and affecting business. If anything, I think you said like it made your business better, right?
which I could not believe. And I had talked to my clients about it, like when I was at the Shaw Classic, and I had launched the HoneyDrip on August 1st. And, one of my clients was like, "Oh, congratulations." And I looked at her and I said, like, I have to be honest. Did you, what did you think? I'm just curious because I've been working with you for a long time. And she's like, "I thought it was awesome. I thought, like," she's like, "I've known you. I've talked to you for years. You are such a big supporter for other women. You're not the least bit jealous." She's like, "I think it's awesome." And that made me feel so good. Then when I started getting inquiries for other women wanting to do photo shoots, I was just amazed because I didn't expect to have that response. And even like you, I wasn't sure what you would think. Like, I think you were one of the first person I told, and I was nervous. And then my best friend Yuko was like, "Good, you should have done this a long time ago." And it's just been cool. Like I said, you kind of find out who supports you and who doesn't, because people that
Yeah.
text me like, "Are you okay?" It's kind of like, all right, if you're really my friend, then that I'm in a healthy, good
Hmm.
place in my life, and I wouldn't do something that I felt was going to harm me in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, there's no way that I mean, it did surprise me a little bit because it seemed like we had just had the conversation. We both were like, no, we wouldn't. But what I think what happened probably was you had only really talked about it to me and maybe a couple other people. And I'm someone who, yeah, I'm still on the like, I don't want to OnlyFans side. Um, just because of all those same fears again. But then you like met this really awesome friend and like her friends, Chris, and so you're getting all this other like information from people really in the industry, that are more encouraging. And so I think that's probably what made the change, actually knowing successful people who like had a good head on their shoulders. And like, we've talked to a few people as well. So I mean, it makes sense to me. And like you've totally taken ownership over it. So it I I think the reason you're also having just such good success with it is because like you are more mature and like a businesswoman. So like you've kind of knew what to look out for. And we've talked to a lot of people with OnlyFans and kind of heard their failures and successes. So you kind of
Yeah.
set it up just the way you wanted to. And we're like, if this works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And two other points I want to bring up about kind of like numbers and working is I was listening to a podcast that really struck me a few months ago prior to launching when it was talking about, I consider myself an entrepreneur. And this podcast challenged my way of thinking because it made me feel like, you know what? I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a consultant because it pretty much said when you're an entrepreneur, you're making money when you're not working. And I was like, I am in the service industry. If I don't deliver to my clients and do what I'm supposed to do, then I don't get paid. And
Hmm.
sometimes, and we have a lot of coaching episodes, I've always gone back and forth like, I don't want to coach anymore because of how much I put into it and how draining it truly can be when it comes to the therapeutic aspect of a coach. Because there's one thing to give someone, a meal plan and a training plan, and it's another thing to truly coach. And I had a really big goal for so much of my 20s to make six figures. I was like, I just want to make six figures. And I got there and I was killing myself. Like, I would be like pulling over to answer clients, like always at their beck and call. And I was like, something's got to change because I know I'm still capable of making a lot of money. Well, a lot of money. And, six figures is not a lot of money these days anymore. But having this has allowed me for the first time in 4 years since I had a corporate job to contribute to my 401k again. And I paid my taxes for the whole year, like with the predicted amounts for the first time before they were due. So it's just given me a lot of freedom and made me a better coach because now I have more time. I could let clients that weren't necessarily the best fit go. I don't feel like I'm constantly working now. And I keep saying the creative part, but it's been awesome because like Wednesdays, we were talking about this. Wednesdays are now my day where, unless, someone has like a weigh in or something, I really don't have to do client stuff on a Wednesday, which is amazing because then after we do our episode, I have some social media stuff I want to do. Then I'm gonna film a recipe, so it's given me a lot more freedom, and yeah, so I love it. I wish I did it.
Yeah,
I wish I did it sooner. But as you were saying, I wasn't in the. You have to be in a good mental place, and I would not do it if I wasn't in a relationship. I don't think, honestly.
yeah, because you have that extra security, like also because there was a risk, like if you thought you're going to lose your business, and you were only just paying your rent on your own and stuff like that. Like it's just we've had this discussion a lot, especially with coaching, that allows you to have freedom to work anywhere, but also you're restrained because you just always have to work, right? So now you get to enjoy coaching and what you do, and you're attracting like clients that are more meant for you as well, keeping the ones that are meant for you, and having like actual time. Something that I realized this year too, it's like how valuable just like time to like enjoy life, and it's like okay to have downtime, and just like you should have downtime, and like boundaries for yourself of working and not working. So I think it's awesome you found a way to, and plus you enjoy it. Because I was going to ask you, like, if Honey Drip only made you, let's say, $500 extra a month, would you still do it?
Honestly, yes, because I feel like all the photo shoots and stuff I'm doing, I'm gonna be able to
Mm-hmm.
look back at those one day
Mm-hmm.
and love, like, I have good memories from each of them. Especially like I really only like Anthony to shoot me. Of course, I work with other uh, photographers and creators, but when Anthony shoots me, like, it is so fun because he helps me pick out the outfit. We have good ideas. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, if I was only making $500 a month from it, I'd probably still do it. Not forever. I think like anything, there's a time and place for life. Like when I have kids one day, hopefully, if I'm lucky enough to have kids,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'll still do it. I have probably, like I would say right now, but I have no idea what the future will predict. I might be in a completely different career by then. So,
Yeah.
but
No, I love that you say that, because a question that I had in our previous episode was, how much money would I need to be guaranteed, like, without, you take the risk, you're not guaranteed anything, but if I could look in the future, say I had OnlyFans and I'm making this much money, like how much money would it have to be enough for me to know, like, oh, I'll do it? Which I know seems like a really silly question. If you're an OnlyFans creator, you probably like don't like that question, but for me it's just like another question to have, like, would it be $200 extra a month, or would it have to be 1 million, or would it be 50,000? Like, and so what's I like hearing from you is that, like, you actually enjoy the process, and I think that's the most important thing, for one. And you think it's worth it. You're worth your time, so that's great, and all good things about like allowing freedom and stuff like that. That's really cool. Um, so it seems like everything worked out, which is
yeah,
awesome. And so you mentioned having kids, and you're not, maybe not doing this forever. And I think early in our other episode, we did mention, or you mentioned, you're fearful of jobs in the future, like if you want to get in the entertainment industry more, or like you know uh in TV and stuff like that. Do you still have those fears? Do you think that this choice will affect any of that?
great question. And I, if anything, I think it would only help me, especially because I've gotten more modeling jobs and stuff because of the photo shoots. And again, I, if for example, like I wanted to go back to being a news reporter or something, legally, if they go on my Honey Drip, there's nothing, and it's HR thing that you're not supposed to do this anyways, but I would not, like I said, I sat down with my mom and we looked
Hmm.
at my Honey Drip page. I don't think it would limit any opportunities because, I mean, what are they going to do? Say they can't hire me because I'm lifting my partner or measuring my bicep or posting a lingerie picture? Maybe, but they're not supposed to say
But
anything
it's
about
not as
that.
they're not as fearful of that anymore. So that's just something I
No.
know. I know it's like a one of those questions. But I was curious if, like, because that was probably the last hurdle you to jump through to say go, like if you're going through that, okay, first, what about Anthony? Then what about my business? Oh, what about my future opportunities? But so far everything worked out. So that's good.
Yeah. And if anything to add to that, I've always been, and you know this from being my friend, I've always been someone that has dabbled with the idea of maybe I'll go back to the corporate world. Maybe I'll go back to medical sales. And for the first time ever, the other day, I actually unsubscribed on LinkedIn to medical jobs in my area because I always would look and I'm like, you know what? This is a waste. This is 15 minutes of my time every week that I'm looking through it. That it's just not in the cards right now. Like I finally accepted that I can always go back to the corporate world. I won't
Yeah.
always be able to do this.
Yeah. No,
So
I always have that. I always have that thought, like, I'll never be this young. I'll never have this. I might not ever have all this like time to like do what I want to do, the ownership over my time. So, your season the moment. So, I've just seen just a huge change in your mental state, just being relaxed and be able to actually like put more time into yourself and like fill your own cup. And it's been awesome. And I don't know if HoneyDrip is, I'm sure HoneyDrip has had something to do with that. So, that's why I backed it. When he told me to, I was like, I mean, what am I going to do about it? How would anyone just be mad about a decision you would make, like as a friend? I don't know. It doesn't affect me. I just want to know more about it. I want to be like, tell me all the juiciness, like I'm so curious. Like it's cool. It's something that I don't want to do, but I also doesn't mean I don't like support it or like want to know more about it.
yeah, exactly. And I totally understand why someone wouldn't want to do it. I really do. Um, but I'm not shy. And like I said, someone might be listening and be like, wow, I can't believe she's like doing arm measurements for money. Like, what is that? But on the other side of that, it's like, here I am with that extra money. I am able to take courses I wanted to and like
Yeah.
really elevate myself in terms of business and coaching. And yeah, it's been fun. No regrets. If anyone wants to get into it, there's a referral program, so I'll put the link below. And my number one advice would just be very secure with who you are first and don't let anyone try and influence you to go a different way. Because I've had, I would say about 80% of the fans have been very positive. But then there's always that couple that are like, I'm going to do a chargeback to my credit card for the $20 because this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, well, sorry, this is my page. I can do whatever I want. You can either love it or you can leave.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great. So I guess your number one advice would be secure with yourself, but is there anything else you think people should know about?
Yeah, treat it like a business. And like I had done, which I wouldn't have had that expertise had I not been coaching in the online realm for so long or with social media, is treat it like a business. Like come up with some goals first and then come up with a system. Because I know some girls on there that just post a picture every day or a video and it works, but I don't want to be thinking about that every day because then I feel like I'd burn out. So, I plan when I'm going to do the photo shoots. I plan, like, it's currently November 13th. I already know I'm doing something for it for Black Friday. I have a photo shoot planned. I'll release those then. Just plan. Don't try and, you can wing it, but I burn out from stuff like that. And then lastly, it is income. So make sure you know how to do your taxes.
Yeah, do your taxes. Awesome. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave us a comment. Would you ever do OnlyFans or HoneyDrip? Let us know because I know that a lot of people had a lot of opinions our last episode about whether or not we do OnlyFans. So let us know. What do you think? Should we do a collab on HoneyDrip? that'll be season 3. I'll come out and be like, now we have the HoneyDrip together.
Lift rocks together.
Yeah, I know. It'll be the barbells,
Naked.
business,
Just
boobs,
kidding.
and HoneyDrip. I do want to
Lingerie
have a
rocks.
photo shoot with you, though. What would our photo shoot be? That could be, leave that in comments. Are we in the desert lifting rocks? Are we, what's the theme? Is it Star Wars? That's what I think of every time I think of the desert. I think of Star
I
Wars.
like that. Sweet. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Bye.